What's good, YouTube? What's good? Um, today's video is not about sports. I just want to put that aside and talk about, life itself. You know, um, what my channel is about, what I'm about. Um, what the D word means. You know what I'm saying? Depression. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people face depression. Um, it depends on how you approach it. You know, I know a lot of people face depression differently. Um, for me, um, I never really believed. I never really believed in depression because my life was just going fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like, you know, life is life is something that you cherish every single day. You know, when you wake up, when you see your family, your friends, you know what I'm saying? Whether you have kids or not, grandkids, nieces, nephews, whatever. Well, not whatever, but when you wake up and you see them every day, you hug them, you say hi, like if you leave for work, you say bye, you come back, you see them when you see them. Um, but a lot of people face depression differently. People seek help. People seek a shrink. People seek guidance, counselors. People seek therapy. You know, um, people that people that have lost a lot of friends. You know, due to gang violence or just wrong place, wrong time. Um, People just deal with it a different way. Some of them are a closed book, some of them are open book. Some of them, some like to talk about it, some others just hold it inside. You know, but for me, like my life was just going so fast. Like I didn't even get the time to process stuff as it went on. I had a fair childhood. Grew up with mom, dad. Dad left the family when I was about like 5. And I've been raised by my mom ever since. You know, she did everything that it took for us to have a better life. Um, and she's still alive and well. You know, she'll be 30. No, she'll be, I said 30. She'll be 67. She'll be 67 next month. I'm 33, so she had me very young. You know, um, she had me very young, and I have, you know, 2 other brothers and 2 older sisters. So I'm, the baby in the family. Um, my first brother is his first oldest. Now my first brother is the oldest. My other brother is the second oldest. My second sister is second oldest, and my third and my no my first sister is the first oldest, and my second sister is second oldest. So yeah, I just lived the life. I made friends. Had a couple of relationships here and there. You know, um, you know, and life is great, Um, participated in sports, you know. Um, I just lived life, and I have no regrets, you know. Um, so yeah. But anyways, my channel to me means everything. I put a lot of work in my videos, and you know, and, I just try to be the best YouTuber I can be. Obviously there is no such thing as a greatest YouTuber because everybody does the exact same thing. you know, I mean they all edit the same. The only thing that might probably change is the thumbnails. You know, but other than that, it's the same process. You know what I'm saying? It's the same process. So there's really no YouTuber that's out there at the top. You know, I mean, there's YouTubers like myself that's trying to get there, but hey, if I get there, I get there. I'm not gonna come on here and beg for subs or I just do the best that I can. I try to be very PG-13 on here because you know how YouTube is. So, um, so I just try to you know be happy and just be myself. Stuff. I keep a small circle. I don't really have that many friends. I only have I have 3 friends that I still keep in contact with. I have my son, my mom, and then that's just it, and my family, and that's it. And you know, it is what it is. I'm not gonna, you know, I live a very Germany lifestyle. You know, I live a very well, no, not Nazi, but I live a very Germany lifestyle. You know, a very quiet lifestyle. You know, um, so what is my channel about? My channel is about everything and anything. For me, I don't specifically target one thing and be on that one thing. I like to attack different subjects. I'm saying? It could be sports, religion, relationships, politics, music, whatever, because I feel like if I attack multiple things all at once, it's better for me to grow, instead of just pinpointing that one, you know, subject, each and every day, you know. Like if I didn't do the things I did, my channel would have been, my channel would have not grown as it is now, you know. I feel like, you know, I may have crossed some boundaries while doing it. I may have stepped on a lot of foot by doing it, but I just felt like I had to tweak my channel a little bit, you know, because for one, when I got into YouTube, I didn't know what my channel was going to be like. I didn't know what I was going to talk about, you know. I mean, I wanted to do a lot of sports with my sister's husband that obviously passed away. Like, what, like, final 2024, 20, no, 20, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. Probably like 9 years ago, he passed away. So, we were supposed to do YouTube together, and obviously tragedy struck. He passed away from a car accident that wasn't his fault. It was just some drunk lady Friday night. They didn't really have anything better to do just to get on the effing road and take somebody's life away. Like she's spending 12 years in prison. You know, my sister, her kids, and we all went down to witness the sentence and stuff like that. It was downtown Miami and stuff, and then it is what it is. Justice was served, but at the end of the day, there is no coming back. Once you're dead, you're dead. You know. But yeah, we were supposed to do a YouTube channel together, and I heard that, yeah, man, like if you do YouTube, like and this was his friend telling him this, like if you do YouTube, man, like you get paid and this and that, but don't think about the money though, you know, just continue uploading like usual, you know. But the thing is, he didn't really have the time to, like he bought everything. He bought the camera, he bought like a green screen, he put the whole thing, off of Amazon. But he just didn't have the time to, because he was just so busy with work. He worked like three different jobs, because he wasn't from here, so he couldn't even work. That's the fucked up thing about it. He could not work because he was not from here. And when Trump was doing the deportation, like around 2019, like during the pandemic, like he was shipping everybody, that wasn't from here, Luckily, luckily he got the green light, you know what I'm saying? But he felt like if he survived that car accident, they was gonna deportate him. They was gonna send him back, and because he was not here, he's not from here. He never really got the chance to, get his papers right and stuff. So he was just working undercover jobs and stuff. But for one, like I said, if I didn't tweak my channel would have been dead, And I asked my homeboy, like, I asked him like, what am I doing wrong? Like, he just said you have to appeal to the audience. Like he says, think about YouTube as an audience. What you put up there, unless it's PG-13, obviously you don't want your channels to get taken down and stuff like that. But there's always a loophole in everything in life. Life is about one big loophole. If you find that loophole, you keep on jabbing at it, picking on it, you can unlock endless boundaries. You can unlock a lot of things. But you just have to be very smart about it. YouTube allows no music. If they hear music, they give you a copyright strike, or they take a video down, or they'll give you an option to mute the music, erase the music, and then still put up the video. Right? So what I do in my videos, I just mute the music. I mute the music, I put a little decoration here and there. I mean, I used to put GIFs on my videos, but I guess Instagram took that away. And I'm trying to find like other apps that you can use GIFs. Um, but but anyways, but yeah, just you know, nitpick, you know. Um, yeah, so he just says that YouTube is just like one big audience, and you just have to appeal to them. Not in that way, but just appeal to them. Like find out what everybody's doing, but do it your way. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to do it everybody else's way. Like I got nobody. I do this all by myself. You know, like I do this all by myself. I have nobody backing me up. Like there was days like I felt like quitting. There's like if you go back and watch my old videos, there's like a ton of them that got marked copyrighted. You know, so I took all of them down. I took the one that was copyrighted down. It took me about like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to do all that. Um, and my homeboy said that YouTube videos with females get a lot of views. Like if you do females, like famous females, they'll get a lot of views. Just he just says that just be careful what you post. Like feet pictures, they'll get you, feet videos, they'll get you demonetized. You know, but if it's just a regular video without no sound, like gaming videos, you could do gaming videos, but you know, that don't really, get a lot of views. Because like he showed me a chart. You know, entertainment, drama, and non-sexual activities get you views. You know, like I don't know why they demonetize videos. Like even if it's a female showing feet, they'll get demonetized. Whatever. A few of my Mia Khalifa videos got clipped, so that's why I don't really do them anymore. But Angel Reese videos, those are probably popping right now. I'm getting a lot of views on those. But he just says, you just gotta nitpick, you know. And I took his advice, and it worked. Yeah, I like Cuban doll videos, and I just be doing a whole bunch of Cuban doll videos and stuff. Just staying out of trouble. Because I've been on strike. I've been on YouTube strike before. That's why. Before I was on my other channel, because I couldn't really do it. They, blocked me. Not really blocked me, but I was unable to post for like 5 days or whatever. So, you know, luckily I have a backup account, which I don't necessarily use unless, you know, this comes up again. So, so my name wasn't always Aquarius Leviathan Prophecy. It was actually Aquarius Airbound ABB, and I changed it, because I just felt like it was too long, so I needed something to mesh together, like sandwich it together. So I took the ABB out of it, and I just went back to what I used to watch when I was a little kid. I used to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! I used to watch a lot of, Hellraiser, Pinhead videos, or movies, I should say. And, you know, I remember when I was in middle school, we did this project where we used to take, we had to take mythical creatures, like a kraken, a leviathan, you know what I'm saying? Like we were all assigned to mythical creatures, you know? And I was assigned to kraken. I didn't like kraken, so I switched. So I said, okay, give me leviathan then. And that word stuck with me ever since. And then ever since I watched Yu-Gi-Oh, that word was keep on coming up, especially where Yu-Gi-Oh had to face darts, you know? That's where I got the name prophecy from. And I got the word Leviathan came in both Yu-Gi-Oh and Pinhead, Hellraiser. So a little fun fact, that's where I got my name from. And then Aquarius is obviously my zodiac sign. So I'll just mesh it together and say Aquarius Leviathan prophecy, and boom, that was my name. And I'm sticking with it forever. I'm not changing it. There was some people that said, damn man, you need to change your name. Your name is too long. And this was like when I was on a live stream. This is like around like last year. No, 2023. I was like on this Giants channel, you know. And then they couldn't really read it, All they knew was Aquarius, and then they butchered the prophecy. No, they butchered Leviathan and they butchered prophecy. So, and they said, you need to change your name, man. I don't believe in that stuff. If you believe in that zodiac crap, this and that, it's like, dude, it's just a name. Like, chill. But anyways, man, but yeah, man, depression is real. Depression is real. Like I said, I just gave you a little backstory on my YouTube, journey. But depression is real, and Molly Brazy, to me, is a strong female, she has, good. She's one of those females that don't say much, they do more and talk less, because she's been through so much in her time, in her lifetime, she's lost a lot of people left and right, that's why she bottles everything inside and she doesn't really, express, you know, herself like that. And I'm like that too, I'm not an introvert, I'm not one of those things, Like I've always been that way since I was a kid, Like I don't really, talk about my feelings like that, or I don't talk about what I'm feeling, I just, simply go with the flow, I just live life like it's my last, kind of like how Iverson always used to say it, you know, live every day like it's your last. Um, but like I said, man, a lot of people face depression differently, Is depression real? Is karma real? Is karma real? Because if depression is real, karma gotta be real, right? Like what goes around comes around, 3 days later, he got knocked down. You know what I'm saying? But I'm here, and he's here, and we still breathing. He got hit like I got hit, but we but but I ain't effing breathing. Little mini man quote from 50, but but yeah, man. I mean, like I said, it depends on how you take it, how you face depression. You know, if you know anybody that has depression or facing depression, just encourage them to be the best that they can. You know, 'cause you never know. You never know. You could be here today, gone tomorrow. So I just try to be happy. You know, just trying to be to myself and don't get caught up in the limelight and just focus on myself. The best way I can. And when my time is up, my time is up. I mean, everybody wants to, just live life fast. And I lost a lot of people that are 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old. They didn't even see freaking past 20. So, I lost a lot of people to the streets. And, you know, like I hung with a lot of bad people. It's just, I mean, I just hung out with a lot of people that had, good intentions, but, they was just too stuck up on the streets and couldn't really find a job. And, it's either they have a job, but then again, bills ain't really had enough, what I'm saying? So they went back to what they used to know when they got caught, busted, got sent to prison, you know, the whole nine. So, but, like I said, man, if anybody's, facing depression, man, it's up and hill battle, you know, um, you know, like you don't really see the signs, and that's the crazy thing about it, like you could be feeling fine and, you could just feel it, you know. Like for me, I don't know, I kind of mastered it a little bit, you know. Um, and you can't really master depression, you know. I mean, it's crazy local talk, but you can't master depression. I don't know how you master depression. You just, you can't be happy all the time, but you can sense it, Like I don't let things get to me. I don't let things bother me, you know. Um, if I'm having a bad day, I'll just take all my frustration out on playing video games. Study shows that video games actually decrease depression. You know, it really does. To me, I thought it was bullcrap, but when you actually understand, like, damn, you know, like this shit really works. You know, a lot of people might think, oh, video games is just wasting your time, but it actually, study shows it actually decreases your chances of depression, you know. But like I said, man, it just never got to me, you know. Usually when you lose loved ones, your life spirals down to deep hole, you know. You cope it with, drugs or music or whatever you prefer, you know. Some prefer food, you know. You know, they just be eating and eating and eating and eating and eating. Now, for me, it's music. Like when I'm feeling the type of way, some type of way, it's either music or video games that calms me down. You know, or yoga. You know, I do probably like 20-minute yoga. I'm gonna start doing yoga. I just need to buy a mat, a little simple mat, and I'm gonna start doing some yoga on this channel. But yeah, man, just you know, you know, but like I said, man, if anybody's facing that, and I'm sorry. I really am. You know, like I don't know what it's like to face it. You know, um, but you can always tell by body language, like people that's energetic and just like be all over the place and just like, yeah, man, yeah, I'm cool, I'm cool. You know, like you in 1,000 years you'll never see it coming until it comes and it's already too late. You know, um, but like I said, man, I encourage anybody that's you know that's going through it, just you know be prepared for it, just be mentally and physically prepared for it, because you just don't know when it's gonna happen to you. You know, you could do and say all the right things, but at the end of the day, death is death, and death eats. So yeah, it is what it is. So um, like, comment, subscribe. I'll I'll put the link in the description box down below, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Like, comment, subscribe on the road to 199K.